This one's a little trickier, but it's not impossible.
That rubber just doesn't make it.
Yeah, it's hard to
slide it all.
So usually what I'll do is take off the tray, and so if you just pull here and then kind of pull away from the saw, you can take off the tray, just make it a little bit easier. If you see the saw here from the side, you'll see, all of this is exposed. And this is really, these are grommets, and then these are pulleys. These little blue things are called pulleys. I'm going to take off, this is the other thing too. If you, the saw brand new doesn't come with this little face shield on there, but if you put it on, it comes off pretty easy. You just pull it off, right? So it just has a couple little pegs that kind of poke into that hole, so we'll want to take that off. The saw also, brand new out of the box, comes with this, it's a blade guide, and it works really well. Again, what the blade guides should, do is they keep the blade from moving around too much, which should reduce the risk of breaking a blade. So we do have to take this off. So I do need that little one.
This one? I don't have the other one.
No, I have it over here. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So this we have to take off, and there's just a small little screw here. And then I am going to use a small little Phillips, and this has to come all the way out. I probably could have loosened that up before. Sometimes this is the trickiest part, is just getting this blade guide off. So the other thing I like to do is, it doesn't just slide off, because these two little red grommets are kind of holding that in place. And so usually you don't have to take the grommet out. You just have to loosen up one or two of the screws. Usually I loosen them both up a little bit. And then when you so this is free, and then you just kind of pull it back, and you just pull it through the blade, right? So not too tricky with that. So then now I can take the top off here, which is this part that covers that, and then you can see the whole saw here is exposed. This is a ring saw, so like its name, the blade is a ring, and the diamond coating goes all the way around the surface. So front, back, sides, right? Which is a little different than what we saw with the bandsaw. This one, if you saw the belt, that was in there too. So the blade rests and rides on the belt, and the belt wears out. So I talked a little bit about the Diamond Elite and some of the parts that wear out. So on this particular saw, the first thing that's going to wear out are these orange grommets. In fact, it's one of the reasons why when you buy a brand new blade, they give you a new set of grommets. And so usually we would recommend that you replace them. I grabbed these blades just because with this particular saw, these are like 4 different blades that will fit on this saw. So then this is what you'd replace first. Next to go is probably going to be the belt. And usually the questions that we get asked is like, well, when do you replace the belt? And so I'm going to show you the belt in a second, but it has a groove. Maybe you can see it from here. There's a groove right down here that the blade rests right inside that, and that groove is going to get worn out, and it's going to get wider. And as the groove gets wider, the blade will slip a little bit. You'll sort of be cutting and grinding, and then the blade almost like stops and then starts again. It's because the belt is starting to get worn out. Also, what will happen is as you look at this, there's some copper wire in there that reinforces the belt, and eventually, you can't see it here, but as you wear out that groove, you'll start to see these little bits of this little copper wire here or there, and that's just a sign that it's time to replace the belt. But let me show you how we're going to replace the blade. So what we're going to do is, and this part actually I think is pretty easy too, to be honest, I guess. So we have this grommet here, and I'm just going to loosen this up. I'll loosen the screw up. And then what I can do is slide that back, and now I can access the blade and everything else. Sometimes people will pull off this blue pulley, which isn't that difficult to do. So if you're having problems, you can do that. Usually I don't worry about it because I can slide everything out usually at this point. So I like to come here, slide the blade out underneath this grommet. There's the blade. Right, the blade comes out, then we can pull the belt off, and the belt just comes around everything. And I'm going to put this back on, so I'll show you a little bit easier. It makes it easier, I think, when you see it going back on.
Do you always have to take the belt off?
No, you don't have to actually take the belt off if you were trying to just replace the blade. I can tell you it's easier if you do, because I'm going to show you here how to put the belt on, and you'll see why I think it's a little bit easier. But you'll see again then, so it gets confusing sometimes, but this belt... So we want the texture side out, right? The little grooves that are in there go on the outside because, again, the blade is going to rest right in the middle of that. So putting this back on, you want to wrap this around the blade, and because it's just easier to hold on to like this, and then we're going to slide it right in. I think they call this the raceway or something. So in this area here where this slides in, and the only tricky part here is by this blue grommet. So I usually push that in first, and then slide this in. And then that slides in. Like I said, if you're having a problem, you can take out that blue pulley. So once we have it here, now what we're going to do is start folding this back. So this whole part of the drive belt here needs to go up and over this pulley. And then this is the tricky part here, is where it needs to go around the pulley, right? That blue one. So then it goes here. Now once that's on there, we're going to flip the whole thing over. And again, we're up over this top one. It goes over this one, and then this makes it real easy. This is the drive pulley, and it also has little ridges in it that line up with the belt, so that's going to go there. This one goes up and over this one. I had it there. And then we're going to come back around. Well, this is a whole lot easier when I did it earlier.
But you're saying you
isn't
didn't
that the way
have
it
to
goes?
take that belt off. You could have done it just over with the belt.
Yeah, I've done it before
intact.
without taking the belt off, so that's how I did it earlier this morning. So one of the important parts is this. This one you'll see has a spring on it, so there's a tension to this, and so when you're trying to put the belt on, it helps to actually push that up so that you have a little more slack on the belt, and then it just makes it easier to get it on these parts, right? So then we can slide it up over this one, and there we go. And that's it. So
Cool.
not too difficult. I know I made it look like it was pretty hard, right? So